It just makes it easier to not have to think. Hi guys, I'm Elena of Financialdemics, where I give you the tips and tools to manage your money, increase your savings and your income, and decrease your debt. And today I am showing you how I personally set up my sinking funds and all of the thought process behind it. Sometimes I can talk about, how to do it and why I do it, but for some people, it's just actually seeing that person go through the process that helps them set up their own sinking funds. So I've talked about sinking funds a couple times on this channel. I think a couple times, at least once. And if it was more than once, I'll link both of them here. But this time I'm going to show you like what process I go through when I start setting up my sinking funds. I'm going to show you how I determine which sinking funds that I'm going to use for this year, how much I'm going to put in each sinking fund, and how I calculate how much I'm going to actually add to each sinking fund, each paycheck, so that I stay on track to reach that goal for the year. Okay, so now we are over on my computer. This is my sinking funds template. Normally, what I do is I write down my sinking funds on paper to kind of get it all out of my head, and then I move everything over to this template because personally, I just like to be able to access it whenever I'm out and about. If I'm traveling, I don't have to worry about it. I have the Sheets app on my phone and I just go into it and see, what the plan was, or make changes on the fly. So that's why I like to have a written version in addition to an actual electronic version of my Sinking Funds template. So we're going to go ahead and start with setting up my sinking funds here. I like to put in the number of paychecks per month because what it does is it allows for me to determine how much needs to be saved per paycheck. I'm a fan of budgeting by paycheck. And so it just gives me more insight and allows for things to, flow a little bit easier. I don't like things to be work. So I don't have to do the math. The template will do the math for me. My first sinking fund that I'm adding for 2021 is for auto maintenance. For this particular fund, I don't really have a due date. I'm just putting money in it every month. I have an older car, which I talked about in a previous video. I'm just going to put a December 31st due date. And so there are some things that need to be done to the car this year. Granted, I need some new brakes. I also had a botch strut and shock job happen last year. I'm trying to decide if I actually want to get this fixed or not. So we're just going to start putting money to the side. Again, the reason why I'm trying to decide if I want to get it fixed is because the car is older. So it's like, is it worth putting that much money into the car? I mean, it can be because then I won't have to get a new car hopefully anytime soon. And sometimes that's better than, comparing like, oh, the car is only worth this and you're about to put this much money into it. It's going to allow me to go longer without a car payment, that type of thing. It's 11 months from the time of the recording of this video to the end of the year. So hence I put in is due in 11 months, and it automatically calculated the monthly amount for me, and then the amount per paycheck for me. So I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do it. I might break it up, but I think I'm going to just eat it up, probably take it to the dealership and get at least the struts on the front done. Because if you've driven a car that rode smoothly, like I didn't expect it to ride the same, but this job was just complete trash, y'all. It's just terrible. So it needs to be fixed. I had them fix it 3 times. It's still trash. I just need to go get it fixed correctly at this point. The next fund that I have for this year is my gift fund. My gift fund usually runs all year long, but I like to have the money ready to go, especially because it includes Christmas and birthdays. I kind of like to just continually add to it, but I still give it a due date. You don't have to if you do this, but I do. So I'm just saying this is how much we're going to put in it. I feel like I'm going to change this amount. Last year, we definitely like cut out all the extra spending for Christmas, especially even for the little ones. Normally we do the little kids. I'm really trying to switch it over where they're by birthday. And so we'll see how this goes for this year. But also, we have older children. Older children, the gifts are usually more expensive. So we're going to work with this amount. I may change it. And that's one thing you should know about sinking funds. You can change it whenever you want to. It doesn't have to stay the same because you set it at a certain time period at the beginning of the year. You change it according to how your life is going. And then from there, get it the way you want it to do. Sometimes I even move money from one fund to the other, especially if I decide I'm not going to, use that fund for the year or that's no longer a goal of mine for the year. So as you can see, it would be saving $50 per paycheck to get to this goal amount for November of this year. The next fund that I have is my CPA exam. So I mentioned that I am sitting for the CPA exam. I've already set for a test already and passed that test. But you have to pay for each test you take. This goal amount is the amount that I would pay for 4 tests. And so I have actually 3 more tests, and then I have an ethics exam. So this is hopefully, that I don't have to retake any tests. So, we'll go from there and see how that works out. I really want to have this done by June of this year. It's not going to probably happen. It's probably not going to happen at this point because I kind of pushed back one of my tests a little bit, but we'll see. We're still going to aim for it. Still need the money to pay for whatever comes. So it is what it is. The next thing we have is a graduation party. This one is one of those funny ones too. Like, we'll see how it goes. It might not happen because of everything that's going on. But basically, my husband is graduating from grad school, and I've been wanting to throw him this party. What it might be is just, our bubble that we operate in, and that's it, which is very small. And it may not be that, just depending on where we're at. But I still want to go ahead and put money aside for this and hope that it works out in my favor. It probably won't need to be this amount either with the way things are going, because since it won't be as big, it'll be less for food, probably won't do a DJ, things like that. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep y'all updated. All right, so you know that I live by the Kid Fund. And so the Kid Fund operates a little bit different than the rest of the other funds. I do not have a due date whatsoever. We are constantly putting money into the fund, and I don't really have a goal amount because constantly just putting a set amount of money into the fund. The money's there, the money can get used. The money's not there, oh well, it's not gonna happen. And so I'm gonna put a goal amount here just because, but truthfully, there's no goal amount. And then also there is a small balance in here right now. A lot of times when I'm starting near the beginning of the year, I just put 0. Like, we still saving, like, let's just keep it going. This should match out close to what I'm trying to save per month, which it does, because like I said, whatever's in there is what's in there, and if it's not in there, guess what? Gonna have to figure it out. All right, the next one is subscriptions. So I have an Amazon Prime subscription, and then I also have a few other subscriptions. I can't even remember what the others are, which is sad, but I do know how much is supposed to hit this account. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here. So typically this is another fund that I just contribute to on a monthly basis to be able to have the money when the money is due. But I'm just going to put in here that is due for one. It does have a balance. I have to go check what that balance is. But for the sake of this recording, I'm just going to go ahead and put that the starting balance is 0. I have 3, no, not 2, 3 months until it's due. So that's 33 per paycheck. And our last fund from right now that I'm putting more money into is this fund. I mentioned in my goals for this year video that I wanted to I took some money out, so I want to add it back, of course, and pad it a little bit more just because 2020 and even 2021 at this point has been ridiculous. And so I think more money needs to be put into our fund. And so I haven't decided what that number looks like because this year has a lot of things going on, but I know how much I need to add back. So for now, I'm going to put the number I need to add back. I'll say that the due date is the end of the year, but this is a priority for me, so it's going to happen a little sooner than later. This is how much I need to add back to the fund. We're going to say we're starting at 0 because it doesn't matter what's in there because we need to add this back. So we have 11 months, so it's $227.27 per paycheck. And then as I sit down and kind of talk it out with my significant other slash husband, we will figure out like what this number needs to look like that we're both comfortable with. I'm more conservative when it comes to emergency savings. He's more like, he likes to have it, but it doesn't have to be as strict as or as a high of a number as I like it. But, you know, we'll work it out. So here are my sinking funds for 2021. Some things to keep in mind. So I typically keep these funds saved at Capital One 360. I really like them because they give you an opportunity to open up like 20 buckets. So 20 savings accounts, and that'll give me the opportunity to have all of the funds that I typically like to have. I will mention that these are not like all of our sinking funds. We do have some additional funds. I'm just not actively contributing towards them this year because of so much stuff that's going on. Like the travel fund, I wanted to go somewhere. I just decided that's probably not going to happen. So that came off. There's no need to be putting money there at the moment. I mean, I could, but I'm good with that. And some other funds that like typically like house maintenance and things like that. My house maintenance fund has actually, I've moved all of my rental stuff kind of like in its own business. So it sits separately from my personal stuff. So I've moved that off of the list, and that particular sinking fund is funded from the payments that we receive for rent. So that's no longer on this list for this year. But if you are interested in grabbing this template, I'm going to have a link for it below. I also have a printable to make it easier. And I actually have in here a sinking funds tracker. So this is how I would track any adding or subtracting, but I do a lot of that in Capital One 360 also. But if I just want to keep track and make sure the numbers are looking right, because it's good to double check your numbers, this is where I do that, and I just make a different copy for each month. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe because I'm trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by July 31st. And if you have any questions about setting up sinking funds or anything I said, please leave them in the comments below. And I will see you next time with an all new video.